The power hierarchy of the Espada is one of the most hotly debated topics within Bleach power scaling. This is why in this video I want to determine once and for all who is stronger, the 4th ranking Espada Ulquiorra Cifer or the 3rd ranking Espada Tia Harribel. Do the Espada rankings even matter in a matchup like this one? Is Harribel stronger than Ulquiorra despite him having the Segunda Etapa? Well, we're gonna find out once and for all within this video. So without further delay, let's determine why Ulquiorra versus Harribel isn't even close. So to kick things off, we're going to be establishing the rules of the fight. So both of them will be battling in a neutral environment where both combatants enter at their absolute peak, meaning Ulquiorra has full access to his Segunda Etapa while Harribel wields her completed resurrection. There is no outside interference, no fresh Yon to support Harribel, and no elaborate psychological games involving Sosuke Aizen. So we'll be looking at both versions of the characters from their respective peaks within the manga, incorporating their full arsenal of abilities, which means that every technique that they have used within the manga is included, and when conditions are straightforward, it's either death or complete incapacitation. Regeneration is also allowed, and water manipulation for Harribel is fair game. Neither Ulquiorra or Harribel will have prep time going into the battle, so they will have to rely on their natural abilities and combat instincts. Now when it comes to the Espada rankings, for the purposes of this video, I want to establish that these rankings only reflect the base forms of the Espada, not including their release dates. Now think about it logically, Yami's number literally changes from 10 to 0 when he releases his resurrection. His tattoo morphing before our eyes suggests that transformations weren't factored into the original Espada hierarchy. I mean, if this is true, then Ulquiorra's Segunda Etapa exists completely outside of the Espada ranking system. And if you notice, when he transforms, his number 4 tattoo vanishes entirely. He's literally removed himself from Aizen's numbered system. I just wanted to establish this right at the beginning of the video before we dive into each of the characters. Let's begin with Ulquiorra, who has emptiness or nothingness as his aspect of death. Ulquiorra was one of Aizen's most trusted subordinates. His analytical nature made him unique amongst the unpredictable Espada. While others would often let their emotions cloud their judgment, Ulquiorra had always executed his missions with efficiency. His nihilistic worldview of "if this eye cannot see it, then it does not exist" defines his entire philosophy of combat. Let's examine some of Ulquiorra's raw feats. He was able to dominate masked Bankai Ichigo not once but twice without breaking a sweat. This is the very same Ichigo who had defeated the 6th ranking Espada Grimmjow in an all-out brawl. In their first encounter on the dome, Ulquiorra casually caught Ichigo's Getsuga Tensho enhanced blade strike, an ability that was able to previously damage captain level opponents. His Cerro Oscuras didn't just damage Ichigo, it obliterated his hollow mask instantly, and it punched a massive hole through Los Noches' dome. To put this into perspective, Los Noches is described as taking 3 days to walk around. We're talking about a structure the size of a small country. That Cerro created visible damage from miles away. Now in his Segunda Etapa, this is where physics stopped making sense. His Lanza del Relámpago created explosions which had dwarfed Los Noches entirely. The blast radius was so huge that characters inside the fortress could see the mushroom cloud rising above the dome. When Ichigo caught one of these lances, the resulting explosion was visible from miles away. When Uryu had sensed the density of Ulquiorra's spiritual pressure in his Segunda Etapa form, he had stated that it was too dense to even be called Reiatsu anymore. Even after the entire lower half of his body was destroyed by Vasta Lorde Ichigo's Cerro, Ulquiorra remained conscious and combat capable. He was able to partially regenerate and sever one of Vasta Lorde Ichigo's horns despite being mortally wounded. This is an insane level of durability, and it highlights just how much willpower Ulquiorra has. In addition to Segunda Etapa, Ulquiorra's Resurrection Murcielago transforms him into something between a bat and a demon. His physical stats multiply dramatically. He has so much speed that he can create after images, and his strength increases to the point that he can shatter the iron skin of the Arrancar. One of Ulquiorra's key abilities is his high-speed regeneration. While others like Noitara and Harribel sacrificed regeneration for increased offensive power, Ulquiorra retained and perfected it. His regeneration allows him to restore or lost limbs within seconds. However, any damage to his internal organs cannot be healed. He states explicitly that he is the only Arrancar capable of instantly regenerating any non-vital body part. During his battle with Ichigo, he regenerated his entire arm faster than the eye could follow. Ulquiorra also has Pesquisa, a sensory ability which allows him to analyze spiritual pressure. He isn't just sensing power, he actually quantifies it, calculates trajectories, and predicts attack patterns with Pesquisa. This analytical edge means that he could instantly assess that Ichigo had grown stronger between their encounters and by exactly how much. The Segunda Etapa changes everything for Ulquiorra. This is a secret transformation that not even Aizen had seen. This multiplies his already monstrous stats exponentially. His appearance becomes truly demonic as he has black fur covering his lower body, massive bat wings, a whip-like tail capable of strangling opponents, and claws that can tear through anything. The spiritual pressure alone from Segunda Etapa induces despair in anyone who is near it. Ulquiorra's ultimate technique by far is Lanza del Relámpago. It generates javelin-like weapons with nuclear-level destructive capacity. Each of Ulquiorra's lances could erase a region the size of a small country at ground zero. While a lance isn't planet-destroying, it is planet-altering. Ulquiorra can generate multiple lances in rapid succession, but he admits that it's difficult for him to control their trajectory at maximum power. This appears to be his only weakness with them. Now, Ulquiorra does have quite an infamous statement. He tells Ichigo there are only 3 Espada stronger than him. But was he just talking about their base forms or their first releases? Or was he just trying to deliberately crush Ichigo's hopes with a technical truth that ignored his hidden ace, the Segunda Etapa? Well, let's find out by now diving into the character of Tia Harribel. The 3rd ranking Espada embodies sacrifice as her aspect of death. Harribel values collective strength and protective bonds. She gathered her Fraction not as subordinates but as companions, as she understood that female hollows were easy prey within the brutal hierarchy of Hueco Mundo. Her protective nature extended to her combat philosophy as she fights not for personal glory but to honor those who sacrifice for her. Her tactical intelligence and elemental mastery made her Aizen's water specialist. While other Espada relied on raw power or speed, Harribel controls the battlefield dynamics through environmental manipulation. Harribel has quite an impressive combat record. She simultaneously fought against a Bankai Toshiro Hitsugaya and 2 holofied Vizards, Lisa and Hiyori, without sustaining major damage. She wasn't just defending against them, she was actively pressing all 3 opponents, forcing them to coordinate their attacks just to maintain parity. Against Hitsugaya specifically, she demonstrated some incredible tactics. Like when he had frozen her Cascada attack, she instantly adapted by using Hirviendo to boil his ice. When Hitsugaya created ice clones to deceive her, she forced him to reveal his trick through sheer combat pressure. She turned his own element against him, demonstrating that ice is just frozen water and she controls water in all of its forms. Her base form was strong enough to overpower Hitsugaya's Bankai before even releasing her sword. She parried his surprise attack that he'd been saving for when it was absolutely necessary, as she demonstrated reaction speeds which exceeded Hitsugaya's calculations. When Hitsugaya tried to lecture her about combat, she reversed his own techniques against him, and the fact that she survived Aizen's betrayal attack, which was a direct slash from the man who later fought the entire Gotei 13, and she continued fighting in the 1000-year Blood War arc and even in Can't For Your Own World. This highlights that she has durability that exceeds most Espada. Harribel later became the queen of Hueco Mundo following the Arrancar arc, demonstrating that she had the strength to maintain order amongst the chaotic Hollow and Arrancar population of the realm. Harribel's Resurrection Tiburón grants her complete mastery over water in all of its forms. The transformation is visually striking. Her mask remnants become a collar, and her sword transforms into a massive pata which resembles a shark tooth, and gill markings appear on it which allow her to generate water. Now, it's the versatility of her Resurrection which makes it truly dangerous. Her ability Cascada summons torrential waterfalls capable of flooding entire city blocks instantly. The water moves at velocities that can crush opponents under tremendous pressure. During a fight with Hitsugaya, a single Cascada threatened to drown multiple city blocks worth of battlefield environment. Lagota fires high-velocity water projectiles shaped like shark teeth. Each projectile has enough force to demolish entire buildings, and she can fire them in rapid succession like a machine gun. The concentrated nature of these attacks means that they pierce rather than flood, giving her a few options against different defense types. Her ability Hirviendo is a hard counter to ice type abilities, as she was able to completely shock Hitsugaya with it. The ability to control water temperature adds another dimension to her arsenal that most opponents wouldn't anticipate. Her ability Trident infuses her blade with energy before releasing it in 3 devastating slashes. The attack has enough power to cut opponents in half instantly, and she can use it without even entering her Resurrection. Harribel's impressive swordsmanship definitely deserves a special mention, as she can seamlessly switch sword hands mid-combat, leaving 0 openings for counterattacks. If you combine this with her Sonido mastery, then it allows her to keep up with multiple captain level opponents at the same time. Her close combat skills rival any Espada. While she never demonstrated a Grand Ray Cero, she theoretically has access to it like all of the Espada. Let's now compare each of their abilities. The Bleach databooks explicitly state that the Espada are ranked by their power levels, and Harribel's placement reflects superior Reiatsu density among standard releases. But here's the thing, if rankings only measure their base forms, then everything changes once we take into consideration their transformations. Segunda Etapa transcends traditional hierarchies entirely. When using this form, he literally removes himself from the Espada ranking system. However, Harribel's water manipulation does provide her with an insane level of versatility which Ulquiorra's straightforward destruction lacks. She doesn't just generate water, she controls its temperature, pressure, and the state of the matter. She can also create defensive walls, offensive torrents, piercing projectiles, and environmental hazards. If she's in a location with natural water sources like an ocean, lake, and even somewhere with an atmosphere with high humidity, then her power multiplies exponentially. But if she were to be fighting in Hueco Mundo, which is an endless white desert, then every drop that she uses must be generated from her own spiritual energy, thus creating a constant drain on her reserves. On the other hand, Ulquiorra's energy-based attacks do not have this limitation. They work the same regardless of the environment. In terms of the range of their respective attacks, this heavily favors Ulquiorra. While Harribel's techniques are impressive, they only cover city blocks at most. Lanza del Relámpago's blast radius dwarfs entire fortresses, but Harribel's water does have advantages that Ulquiorra's energy doesn't. Water flows around obstacles, it seeps through offenses, and it can attack from unexpected angles. Ulquiorra's attacks are devastating, but they are linear and predictable in trajectory. We'll now be looking at their physical combat stats, beginning with strength. Raw physical power obviously favors Segunda Etapa Ulquiorra. When Ulquiorra grabbed Ichigo by the throat, he lifted him one-handed like he weighed nothing. His tail alone could shatter Orihime's Santan Keishun, a barrier that had blocked captain-level attacks. Harribel demonstrates impressive strength, consistently overpowering Hitsugaya's physical blocks and matching the combined might of 3 captain-level opponents. Her sword strikes carried enough force to create shockwaves, and she could deflect multi-ton ice constructs with casual swings. But she never displayed the reality-warping impact force of Ulquiorra's enhanced form. When Segunda Etapa Ulquiorra strikes something, it doesn't just break, it ceases to exist. In terms of speed, we need to establish something critical here. Both of these opponents are able to move faster than light. We're not talking about metaphor here, the Espada scale above characters who have dodged literal light-based attacks. Aranero dodged sunlight through Los Noches' dome, the negation beams used by Menos Grande are explicitly stated to be light, and even low-tier Arrancar can react to them. Cero attacks themselves are described as light-based spiritual energy, and both Ulquiorra and Harribel have been shown to be way faster than the speed of a Cero attack. By the time that we reach Espada level combat, we're dealing with fighters who make light speed look pedestrian level. Conservative calculations put base Ulquiorra and Harribel at speeds somewhere around 60% light speed just in their unreleased states, but that's being modest. Then when you factor in their ability to dodge and counter each other's Cero attacks, which cross kilometers instantly, we're talking about combat speeds that exceed exceed light by multiples. Ulquiorra in his base form already moved faster than Bankai Ichigo could track. This wasn't just Ichigo's ability to react to him, but literally perceive Ulquiorra. This is the same Ichigo who had been dodging light speed attacks since the Soul Society arc. With Resurrection, Ulquiorra created multiple after images while casually walking. He didn't blur, he appeared to exist in several places at the same time because he was moving between them faster than light could travel to show his position. Segunda Etapa pushes this to absolutely absurd levels. The transformation doesn't just double or triple his speed, it's an exponential increase. His perception blitzed Hollow Mask Ichigo, who himself was operating at faster than light speeds. We're talking about combat where entire exchanges happen at time frames shorter than it takes light to cross a single room. Harribel operates at similar speeds in her released form. She kept pace with Hitsugaya's Bankai enhanced movement. This is the same Hitsugaya who could flash freeze moisture in air before it could fall a millimeter. Harribel's reaction time allowed her to switch sword hands mid-swing to counter attacks that were already in motion. This is a feat that requires faster than light perception and movement. Here's the critical difference: when both of these fighters exceed light speed, Ulquiorra in Segunda Etapa operates at a higher multiplier. Harribel might be moving at 2 to 3 times light speed in Resurrection, but Segunda Etapa Ulquiorra is likely pushing 5 to 10 times light speed, and it's this difference which is crucial in the outcome of this battle. In terms of both of their techniques, I think Harribel actually holds an advantage here. Her incredible swordsmanship and her tactical flexibility creates complex attack patterns that even prodigies like Hitsugaya struggle to predict. Harribel is able to control distances with her abilities, she can manipulate timing, and she creates false openings to bait counters. Her combat experience shows in every exchange. Ulquiorra's techniques are efficient rather than elaborate. He doesn't waste movement or energy on flashy attacks. Every strike aims for vital points, every dodge moves him into attacking position. His combat style reflects his personality, which is called logical and purposeful. While his abilities are less technically sophisticated than Harribel's, his overwhelming speed and power mean that he doesn't need complexity. Why would he need to utilize 10 different moves when only one is needed to erase an opponent? In terms of their intelligence and strategy, during combat, Ulquiorra constantly analyzes, calculates, and adapts. He identified Ichigo's power growth percentage between encounters, he predicted Orihime's importance before anyone else, and he successfully concealed Segunda Etapa from Aizen. On the other hand, Harribel shows excellent battlefield intuition and elemental tactical thinking. She reads opponents' personalities through their fighting styles and adapts strategies mid-combat, and she coordinates effectively with allies when needed. Harribel's tactical thinking appears more reactive than proactive. She responds brilliantly to threats but rarely creates strategic advantages through planning. Her combat intelligence is instinctive rather than analytical, whereas Ulquiorra dissects opponents like a scientist. In terms of durability and stamina, Ulquiorra has some massive points here, as he can literally rapidly regenerate all of his limbs. Like we mentioned earlier, he can regenerate any non-vital part of his body. Harribel's durability is more traditional but still very exceptional. Her iron skin tanked Hitsugaya's strongest ice attacks without visible damage. Like I mentioned earlier, Aizen's betrayal slash, which should have been fatal, only temporarily knocked her out. She survived being frozen solid in Hitsugaya's ultimate technique too, and she broke free with her raw power alone. This should show just how much durability she has. Stamina wise, both Ulquiorra and Harribel have vast reserves. Harribel fought against a captain and 2 Vizards without showing fatigue. Her spiritual pressure remained consistent throughout extended combat. Ulquiorra's techniques do require a ton of energy too, but his regeneration means that he outlasts opponents through recovery rather than raw endurance. When it comes to their ultimate abilities, Ulquiorra's is Lanza del Relámpago. The explosive force of this attack is large enough to contain multiple cities, and Ulquiorra is able to generate multiple lances at the same time. Essentially, he's wielding nuclear weapons as casual projectiles. The only weakness of this ultimate attack is his ability to control the trajectory of the lances at their max power. Harribel's strongest confirmed technique is Cascada, which floods massive areas, but it lacks the concentrated destruction destructive force of Lanza del Relámpago. We're comparing a tsunami to a nuclear bomb, both devastating but in fundamentally different ways. Her theoretical Gran Bracero might approach similar power levels, but she never demonstrated it in combat, so we can speculate about its power, but speculation doesn't really win fights. So Ulquiorra's weaknesses are minimal, but they are exploitable. Lanza del Relámpago's trajectory issues means that agile opponents might dodge at long range. Segunda Etapa's energy consumption remains to be unknown, but I can confidently say that it likely exceeds sustainable levels for prolonged combat. Ulquiorra's straightforward combat approach lacks adaptability against unconventional tactics, though his overwhelming power usually makes adaptation unnecessary. Harribel faces more significant limitations. If she's in an environment that doesn't have much water or moisture, then it means that she is going to force herself to constantly expend energy to generate water. Her abilities usually spread damage over vast areas rather than concentrated points, thus reducing effectiveness against regenerating opponents like Ulquiorra. The lack of demonstrated ultimate techniques does leave her ceiling uncertain, as she needs existing moisture or massive energy investment to reach her full potential with her water-based attacks. So if their ultimate attacks were to clash, Lanza del Relámpago would vaporize water constructs through sheer heat and explosive force. The thermal energy alone would instantly convert water to steam, potentially creating blowback that damages Harribel herself. She might try redirecting lance trajectories using water pressure, but the explosion radius negates precision dodging. Harribel could potentially create water prisons or defensive barriers, but Ulquiorra's speed means that he is in total control of their engagement range. Her best strategy involves flooding the battlefield immediately and maintaining a distance, but Segunda Etapa's speed makes distance management nearly impossible. The true X factor or wildcard in this battle is the environmental advantage that Harribel would have if she were to be fighting Ulquiorra on a beach, for example. Could Harribel survive long enough to establish control of the battlefield if she had an entire ocean to assist her in this fight? Segunda Etapa wouldn't leave her much room for second chances, so Harribel would need to be very purposeful and try to take control of the battle with any environmental advantages that she has. The moment that Ulquiorra transforms, the clock will start ticking for her. Either Harribel achieves battlefield control immediately, or the fight ends in a nuclear bomb. Like the title of the video reads, this fight isn't even close. Physical combat belongs to Segunda Etapa Ulquiorra entirely. Released Harribel vs Segunda Etapa Ulquiorra isn't 3rd versus 4th, it's standard release against something that shouldn't even exist. Because Ulquiorra's tattoo literally disappears, it removes him from the Espada ranking system. Even if Harribel has versatility with a moveset, it's nothing compared to Lanza del Relámpago, which vaporizes all water constructs equally. Even if she gets the environmental control, any advantage she has will evaporate against an opponent who can reshape the geography of a planet with each attack. Ulquiorra's analytical approach and his psychological warfare exceeds Harribel's reactive tactics. Then you have the high-speed regeneration versus physical toughness. Every non-fatal wound that Ulquiorra sustains is meaningless to him. On the other hand, with Harribel, damage will accumulate and she has no way of recovering. So in a war of attrition, the healer is going to win by default. Harribel only wins this fight with perfect conditions. She needs an ocean on her side. She needs to catch Ulquiorra before he activates Segunda Etapa. She needs to exploit the Lanza del Relámpago's trajectory issues, and she needs to exploit his arrogance in order to create openings against him. Her victory requires flawless execution, immediate battlefield flooding, surviving the initial onslaught, controlling distance thanks to water, and creating prisons to restrict his movements. One single mistake here means nuclear annihilation for her. I did run a community poll on my channel where I asked all of you who would win in a 1v1. As of making this video, we had 40,000 votes in total. 84% thought that Ulquiorra would win, while 16% thought that the 3rd ranking Espada Harribel would win. Again, that 16% is only with the most perfect of circumstances. This fight isn't even close, it's definitely in favor of Ulquiorra. He pretty much wins 9.5 times out of 10. And this isn't disrespecting Harribel, she's an incredible character with an amazing moveset, it's just a really bad matchup to have her fight against Ulquiorra. This is because Segunda Segunda Etapa exists in a totally different dimension of power. But yeah, we have reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. Who do you think would win between Ulquiorra versus Harribel? Do you agree with my analysis and breakdown? If there's anything that I've forgotten to mention, then let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this one, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.